Welcome back to MonsterTamer, a 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phaser 3. Previously, for our cutscenes and in-game events feature, we worked on updating our NPC to move using our events JSON. If you missed the previous videos, there'll be links in the video description to the source code to this point, as well as the complete source code for this video. There'll also be a link to the previous videos if you'd like to catch up. So let's get started. For our cutscene events feature, the next method we need to work on is our have NPC retrace path. So currently in our level, after our NPC shows up, she'll walk towards the player, we'll have our player and NPC face each other, and then they talk. After they talk, we like the NPC to walk back to the house, and then that way we can have our NPC look like it disappeared back into the house. To do this, we need to use our NPC's current path, and we need to reverse the steps that are there. So I'm just going to add a console log statement here. Do console log. We're going to reference our NPC. So we'll have our target NPC and we'll grab their NPC path. Let's save. So now back in our scene, if we move our player down, we'll have our NPC show up. And now in our console, after we're done talking to our NPC, we should see our console log statement. And so we'll see for our current path, we have an object and all of our keys are numbers. And these are the coordinates where we want to move our NPC to. And so to reverse this, we'll want number 2 to be our first index, 1 will be in the middle, and then 0 will be our last index. We can easily do this by taking our keys from our object and turning it into an array. If we reverse it, then we can grab our indexes in reverse, and then we can grab the coordinates we need here. So to do this, let's make a new variable. We'll do const, we're going to do updated path. We're going to set this equal to an empty object. Next, we need to grab our path key. So let's do const, we're going to do path keys. We're going to set that equal to an object.keys. Now we want to grab our target NPC. We want to grab the NPC path. Now this will give us an array of those keys. And now if we do reverse on our array, it's going to reverse the order of our elements in place. And now we're going to have our order of 2, 1, 0. Now that we have our keys, we just need to iterate through them and update our updated path here. For this, we'll just do path keys and do for each. So for each of our path keys, we'll also take our index. Now we can just do our updated path. We'll use the index that was provided, and now we'll set it equal to our target NPC, our NPC path, and then our path key. And so now by doing this, when we iterate through our array, our index will start at 0, and so for our first element, it's going to be equal to our last element, since our first path key will be 2. So now we have our updated path, now we need to update our NPC to use it. Let's come back up to our other method where we have our NPC move, and let's copy our logic here for where we update our NPC. We'll paste that below our path keys. So let's start down here. For our movement pattern, we'll want to do set path, so we'll have our NPC only follow that path. For our actual path, this will be our updated path. And then we'll want to reset our movement time, so we'll have our NPC start moving right away. Back in our callback, for after NPC finishes moving, we're going to want to use our updated path instead of our NPC path to follow. And then we'll do the same check. We'll want our X and our Y values to be equal. So now when this happens, we don't need to have our NPC and player face each other because they're leaving. So let's remove those lines of code. But then we'll keep our delayed call, so then that way we can go to our next event in our cutscene. So let's remove this logic down here, and let's save. Oh, and one quick fix, we don't update a path here. We actually want this to be our path keys, and we'll grab our length. Now let's save, and we should be able to test. So if we have our player move down in our scene, our NPC should show up, should talk to our player. After she talks to our player, she should now walk back to the house and disappear. Nice. Alright, so let's do one more test. If we move our player to the right, now our NPC will be right next to our player, and if we talk to our NPC, we're going to see that our code breaks. And what happens here is even though we're updating our path, because our NPC is already in the position that we need to be in for that index, we skip doing our update. So we just need to add code to handle that edge case when we have no additional steps we need to make for NPC. We just want to transition to our next event. So to do this, right after our path keys, we're just going to check the length. So we're going to do if our path keys.length is equal to 1. So we're already in the spot we expect to be in. Then we'll have our NPC face the direction we want them to face. So we'll do our target NPC. Let's do face player. And now instead of facing our player, we want to face the direction from our game event data. So if we do our game event, our data, and now we do direction, now we want to do our delayed call and we'll go to our next event. And finally, let's do a return so we don't do the rest of our code. Let's save. Now if we test, we have our player move to the right. See the mom NPC shows up. After we talk, she should face up and then disappear. Very nice. Now that we have our logic in place for having our NPC retrace their path, our next event we need to process is when the NPC gives us a monster. So for our game, after our player talks to the mom NPC and goes to leave the town, the professor is going to give us our first starting monster for our game. So when this happens, we'll need to take the ID of the monster that we're given, look up the data in our monsters JSON file, and then add that monster to our party. To do this, let's come to our add monster from npc method below our code. First, let's grab our monsters in our current party. So we'll do const, we'll do our monsters in party. We're going to set it equal to our data manager. We want to use our store, we're going to do get, and let's do our store keys, and we want to do our monsters in party. Now we need to take the ID of the monster that's provided in our game event, and we need to grab that from our monsters JSON. We'll do const, we'll do new monster. We're going to set it equal to our data utils. Let's do get monster by ID. Now for our monster ID, let's pass in the scene. We'll do our game event, data, and now we want to do the ID of the monster. Now that we have this new monster, we need to add it into our current party. So we'll do monsters in party, we'll do push. Now we want to push in our new monster. Now that we've updated our party, we need to store that in our data manager. So we'll do our data manager. We'll reference our store. Now we'll do set, and we want to do our data manager store keys, our monsters in party. And now we want to pass in our monsters in party array. Once we've done this, we can now jump to our next event. So let's copy our logic here, go ahead and paste it. Let's remove our console log, and then let's remove this logic up here. All right, so we want to go ahead and test our changes. Let's come over to our browser. Let's move our player over. We'll have our player talk to our mom NPC. All right, so after she leaves, let's come up here. So we check. We still have our 3 starting monsters in our party. If we exit out, now if we move over, our professor is going to show up. It should come and talk to the player. All right, so he tells us to take the iguana knight. After he leaves, we should be able to open our menu. So now if we go into our monsters, we'll now see we have 4 monsters in our party, and we'll have our new iguana knight. All right, for the code we just added, this will work great for the start of our game, and as long as our player has less than 6 monsters in their party. If their party's already full, we need to handle this differently, and so for the time being, we're just going to add a to-do so we can focus on our cutscene and events. All right, for our to-do, we'll just say we'll want to handle when our party's already full. Now that we've added in our logic for handling when our NPC gives us our monster, we're going to update our data manager to no longer have us start with monsters when our game first starts, and instead we'll have no monsters in our party, and we'll need to have the player talk to the professor to get their first monster. All right, so if we come into our data manager class, let's come down to our init method, and this is the method where we add our new monsters to our party and we store it in our data manager. We're going to remove this method from our game. All right, and then we come down to our start new game method. This is one of the locations where we call init, so let's remove that from our code. And we can also remove our argument for our phaser scene since we no longer need that for our start new game method. Now we need to update our phaser scenes where we're referencing these methods. So first, let's go into our preload scene. In our preload scene at the bottom of our code, this is where we do our init, so let's remove that logic. Next, let's go into our title scene when we start a brand new game. So when we start a new game, we don't need to pass in our scene reference. We just call start new game. All right, so now for our changes. When our game starts, if we go into our monsters, we'll see now we have no monsters in our party. So one change we're going to make is when we first start our game, if the player tries to access our menu, we're going to show a message that says, hey, you have no monsters, and then we won't actually transition to our scene. To add this logic, let's jump back to our world scene, and we want to go to where we handle our player input. So if we just do a search for where we do our menu select option is equal to our monsters, let's add our safeguard, and we'll make sure we actually have monsters in our party. So for this, let's do if, and we'll do our data manager. Let's do our store. Let's do get. And now let's do our data manager store keys. We want to do our monsters in our party. And now that we have our array, let's check our length. And if our length is equal to 0, now we want to do something different. So we'll do our return. And so we'll show our dialog modal. And now for our messages, we'll just say you have no monsters in your party. And then we'll hide our menu. All right, so now if we save, let's come back to our game. So when our game starts, now if we try to go into our monster menu, we'll see, hey, we have no monsters and we're not able to access it. And now if we test our full intro, our mom NPC will show up. She'll talk to us. She's going to tell us to look for the professor. So now if we come up, let's go in. We should still have no monsters. Let's save our game, and we're going to make sure our events persist between our sessions. So now if we refresh, our players should be in their position. We should no longer have our event zone because we've already talked to our mom. And now if we come up here, let's talk to our professor. All right, our professor shows up. All right, gives us our monster. All right, if we go into our monsters, we'll see now we have our iguana knight. Alright, with that last change, that wraps up our section on our story events for our cutscene and in-game events feature. In our next video, we're going to work on adding our story flags. And so for our story flags, this is going to allow us to have our NPCs have different messages depending on what events have happened in our game. So as a reminder, there's a link in the description of the video to complete source code for this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more great Phaser 3 content, please follow the links on your screen now.